Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Tougies Take podcast. I am here alongside Mr. Sin for the win today, as Endo Mills has passed out somewhere because that man has somehow a worse sleep schedule than I do. Sin, it's good to have you back.
Yeah,
How are you? How's the week been?
I'm fantastic, man. The week's been good. I've been playing this game called Medieval Dynasty, and it's fantastic. As I get older, I've noticed I'm leaning further and further away from competitive style games and just getting more into those relaxing ass, just have fun games. And Medieval Dynasty is one of them. There's no point to it. You just build a fucking village and maintain it. That's the entire game, and it's amazing. It's like Minecraft meets Skyrim.
That, now that you say that, I'm like, yep, that is the type of game you would play.
Yeah.
Everything I know about you, it's like, describe Sin's perfect game, that perfect. All right, well, with that, everybody, again, we are back for another Friday show. Want to give everyone a heads up right out of the gates. Don't know what will happen for this upcoming Tuesday's show. I am going to be down in Boston for a day or two. Gonna catch me an episode of AEW Dynamite live at Gannis Arena, which is great. Going down with a couple of friends, so it's nice to kind of get away. And then obviously in April as well, yeah, dude, I hope Danhausen's there so badly. I will get to see the Hardy Boys live though for the first time. Matt and Jeff at a tables match. They're in their 40s and they're still doing it. Shit's nuts, but I'll take it. So yeah, gonna have a hell of a time there. And then later on in April, of course, there's some vacation time for me as well. So April shows might be few and far between for this month. I'll try to keep you guys updated as best I can. But at the very least, Sin and I are here today to talk about everything that's happened in the past couple of days in the hockey world. Before we get into that, though, as always, need to mention that this show is brought to you by our friends at Manscaped. You can use code Tougie at checkout for 20% off your order and free worldwide shipping. Again, that is code Tougie at checkout. Manscaped, the place to get the best tools for the job. Take care of those nose and ears hair with the weed whacker. Take care of your face. Take care of your balls. Take care of everything that you need to take care of. Manscaped's the place. Code Tougie, 20% off. You won't regret it. Sin, your thoughts really quickly, because this past Tuesday's episode, we had some interesting talking points, some unfortunate talking points as well, and I wanted to give you kind of a chance. It's kind of become the theme since you've had to shift to Fridays only of like, hey, you missed the last show. Did you have any thoughts you wanted to share? Obviously, kind of highlighted by the fact that there was the very unfortunate passing of one Eugene Melnyk, and as well there was some of the early news from the NHL GM meetings.
Yes, the Eugene Melnyk thing caught me completely off guard. I just tuned into Twitter every so often as I do, and I see that he passed away, and it's just extremely heartbreaking. Your opinions on him, his ownership style, all that aside, I mean, that's way too young. And you could at the very least, you could tell he cared about that team just because how involved he wanted to be. You can make the argument whether or not an owner should be that involved, but he definitely cared. Erik Karlsson was quoted as, even though they didn't talk much when he left Ottawa, he sent him flowers on the birth of his kid. It's good. I think overall it's a good human, and complicated legacy aside, it's just very, very sad that I had no clue that he was even sick or battling health issues. I don't know if anyone did, but
no, it wasn't very public outside of the liver transplant, I believe in 2015. I don't really think it was out there for the public, if at all. That he was in poor health. The other thing I know you kind of had at least a take on, again, from the NHL GM meetings, one of the things that was out there was the status of the World Cup of Hockey in 2024, and my understanding is you have no interest in it anymore.
No, I mean, I usually, especially this year, I hate to say it, I'm becoming, at least in a lot of ways, a more casual hockey fan. Well, I'm still, very, very heavily in the Sharks, but most of the time I'd always consider myself a hockey fan first and Sharks fan second. But man, this year, I don't know. I've just had so much going on where I've really kind of not been keeping up as much. But yeah, I never watched the World Cup of Hockey too much. I'm usually just, NHL Olympics type guy, but I watched when they had Team North America and Team Europe because that was interesting. It was this new kind of thing, like, hey, here's all the young guys. Let's put an underdog in the mix of all these heavy hitters, like guys who maybe weren't going to make their teams, or I mean, maybe some of them would, but like I thought it was awesome, and that I watched the shit out of that, and I haven't watched one since. I don't even know how often it's on. I just heard about that, watched it. And now
that was the last one, actually.
Oh, was it?
So,
is it an every 3 years thing, like the actual World Cup, or?
So I think they were planning on having one in 2020 or around 2020. Plans changed a lot.
How long ago was that one? Don't tell me it was like 2017.
2016.
What?
2016 was the last one, I believe.
No.
Yeah, 2016.
Oh, it was, because McDavid was like
6
year
years ago.
in, and Matthews was a rookie or something stupid.
Yeah, they both. They were both on that under 23 team. McKinnon was on that under 23 team.
That's right. It would have been that long ago. Then that sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
It's I mean, the problem is, like, there's only been 3 of these tournaments in the league's history, right? 96, 2004, and 2016. And obviously, it's in direct conflict with, like, okay, what's their status in terms of going to the Olympics? Because it pretty much lines up. Right. So, yeah, I mean, well, in fairness, it lines up more with the Summer Olympics than it does the Winter Olympics. So who knows what they'll do.
Yeah, I would like to say, forward. Like, just the one thing. I saw a lot of, like, arguments being made, like, oh, this will help legitimize the tournament more. I'm like, why? Like, why does everyone want to have this, like, this weird hockey thing of, like, everything's got to be so fucking culturally acceptable and it's got to be legit? It's like, man, the entertainment factor of having the young guns like Team North America and Team Europe was, I don't know, in my opinion, enough to draw more eyes. And yeah, I mean, I see both sides of it, though, but fuck, man, why can't things just be for fun sometimes?
I'll never view the World Cup of hockey as like this thing to overly celebrate. It's not the Olympics.
Yeah.
It's not. You know, at the end of the day, like, unless you're telling me that all the top players from, the guys from the SHL have a chance to make Team Sweden or the KHL, like, it's just not, it's not going to be that. Yeah. It just isn't. Like, you have to have, like, the Olympics to me are, in theory, it's not always the case. Shout out to 2006 Team Canada that I think left Sidney Crosby off to bring all the old men to Torino. Good decision that was, by the way. Almost 20 years removed from that, and still just one of the worst management decisions I've ever seen in hockey. It just really is that idea of you're not going to get the best of the World Cup of hockey instead of the Olympics. So it's kind of where it's at. With that, though, God, we have a ton to talk about today. It is the first of a new month. Happy April Fool's Day, everybody. The worst goddamn holiday there is. Let's all lie for the day and say, gotcha, it's the fucking worst. Can we please end this bullshit? Oh, Tougie, you're just saying that because you fall for shit. No, I don't. I avoid Twitter and Reddit and everywhere, essentially, on this day because it's not worth my time. Like, goddamn, and literally whenever you see something happens, like, oh, the LA Dodgers acquired Craig Kimbrell. Is that real? Can I trust it? God damn it. It's just, I think the problem, Sin, let's make this real. My problem with April Fool's Day is that it's not just, it's fake news the day. But it has expanded beyond April 1st, and it's fucking 24/7, 365. So what's the point of the day anymore when people have just taken the concept of this day and trolling and fake news and just blown it up to be a fucking daily thing? That's my issue. That's my TED Talk.
You know what? I feel like I need to make a speech like Top Dollar in The Crow about how the idea has become an institution. Because initially April Fool's was great. I think the internet and corporations fucking ruined it. Because I'm not gonna lie, the Duolingo post was funny as shit. Because they've kind of taken, everyone's like, how threatening is the Duolingo owl constantly, and if you're out there on Twitter, you have to find the Duolingo April Fool's post because it's funny as hell. They're essentially inserting the Duolingo owl into like this kidnapping scheme. Just because he's threatening notifications. Anyway, but yeah, like, I think before the internet, it probably had more of an impact. Like, you got fooled. And then the internet came along and people, like you said, just start trolling constantly. And so, like, April Fool's has become a day where all these brands online do their little fucking jokes. And I think that's, for me, the fatigue of it, is when all these brands like, hey, you know that one thing you really like and you want us to do? Here's a joke about it instead. Piss off, fuckers.
April Fool's is the equivalent.
You're gonna get healthcare. JK.
April Fool's is the equivalent of the "How do you do, fellow kids" meme. That's exactly what it is, and that's why I hate it. Damn it! But it is the first.
Although I did probably trigger some people by posting a picture of the Vegas logo and hashtag #VegasBorn on my Twitter. That was funny.
I didn't even see that. Yeah. Oh, that's incredible. I'm gonna go leave a like on that right now because I do like it. I do. Can you believe all of this
nothing
was to
besides
say,
that? Like nothing. Just that. That's the extent. I used to do like fucking April Fool's videos on like YouTube and stuff like that. I had one where I just did a mini Minecraft video acting like I was completely not doing NHL anymore and just doing Minecraft.
I mean, that might have been better for the mental health.
It might have. I think I fucked up. Can I go back to 2016? Number 1, to watch that tournament again. Number 2, to switch my channel to a Minecraft channel. I could have been up there with PewDiePie. God damn it.
Who would have thought? Oh, God. Can you believe all of this was me mentioning April 1st was to say like, hey, let's do our updated awards takes?
Yeah, I was going to, but I was gonna like have my Ducks hat on just the whole time without fucking context. The Anaheim Ducks hat that I got from doing the Ducks casts. Just have that on the whole time, no context, and just be like,
I never got a hat from the Ducks.
You got a different care package than I did. I saw.
Yeah, I did. Cool. I did. Yeah, I don't know. I can't balance a bobblehead on my head.
I do still have this incredible Andre Kasha signed Ducks puck.
I have one too.
Yes. I want to sell it to a Leafs fan.
There you go. So yeah, in terms of updated awards then, let's talk about this real quickly. Obviously, Endo isn't here, so there won't be as much discussion, but we always like to kind of look back in. The problem is, I don't know if much has changed for either of our predictions at this point. Obviously, when you get towards the end of the season, stuff starts to get locked in. Ted Lindsay Award, for example, the league's best player is basically what this stands for. It's Connor McDavid.
Yes.
I mean, he became the first player to reach 100 points on the season. It is the 4th time in his career that he has become the first player in a season to do that. He joins Brian Trottier and Bobby Orr for 3rd all time on the list of players to do that before their 26th birthday. And you also have the likes of Dale Howard-Chuck and Mario Lemieux. They did it 6 times before their 26th birthday, and Gretzky did it 8 times. So basically, Gretzky's like, okay, I'm 18 years old. 100 points. I'm going to get there before anybody else every single time. So McDavid's on this unbelievable pace. He is the best player in the world. There's no doubt about it.
And can Leafs fans stop saying Matthews because he's improved his defense? Like, there's no... even with his improved defense, even if Matthews wins the fucking Selke, he is still not as good as McDavid. Okay? I'm sorry. Just... ugh. It's pissing me off to see these real takes. And
it's closer than it's ever been, though. Yeah. Like, in my mind, right now... like, before it would have been, okay, McDavid number 1, okay, maybe this guy 2, maybe this guy, like, no, for me right now, it's clear cut. I would take McDavid or then Matthews. And honestly, I mean, you could maybe even, it's at least a conversation. I don't know how heavy of a debate it is. But yeah, no, I mean, at the very least, like, I think Matthews for me now, after showing his defensive improvements this season, is the clear cut 1B behind Connor McDavid. If not in that 2nd spot with just a little bit of distance.
Yeah, I would still say 2nd part. I actually had a very long discussion in DMs once with Ray Ferraro, which is my claim to fame, about this topic exactly. And his point was, yes, Matthews is a clear 1B. And I was like, I don't know. Anyway, but that's also Ray Ferraro, and I'm me.
There you go.
So hey, you guys
Trust
could be
the
right.
experts.
You know, I don't have much anti-Leaf bias, but it's mostly just because they're fans, and I don't want to give anyone the benefit of the doubt. I love the Matthews improvements. I mean, I think, like I said in the beginning, like, I'm like, man, if this guy can improve his defense, like with his goal scoring ability, because you have to bring something else to the table. Like if you want to be, especially as a center, if you want to be better than Ovechkin or something, like you're gonna have to bring something else to the table. Like how long did it take Ovechkin to really get a defensive game? Like into his 30s. Matthews is already doing that. Like I
don't even know if Ovi's ever had a defensive
he
game.
did one year and then they won the cup and then he's just like, fuck it. Like
he will never live down. He'll never live down the disconnected controller clip.
I love it.
He'll never live that down. That'll always be his legacy in terms of defense.
Yeah, he absolutely shouldn't. Back check, boys.
Oh, God. Hart Trophy. I still have Igor Shesterkin. I look at all the teams that are in the playoff hunt right now. The Rangers are not where they are without Igor Shesterkin. That's undeniable. He is my candidate for the most valuable player to his team.
Yep, no real comparison. Yeah, it's got
Norris Trophy. Roman Yossi. I think Cale Makar and company were in that mix for a long time. Roman Yossi had such an unbelievable month of March. He has clearly taken
points
that front
in 11 games or something silly like that as a defenseman.
I don't remember the exact stat line either, but it is something that absurd.
Yeah, and no one's talking about him.
Here we go.
Do you see his highlight reels? No, it's insane.
So NHL 3 stars of the month. Johnny Gaudreau was the top forward, or the second star of the month. He had 26 points in 16 games. Yossi had 28 and 14.
2 points
outscored.
per game as a fucking defenseman, bro.
Oh my God,
that's insane.
He's insane.
Like, and I really feel like he's not getting enough hype for it. I remember NHL it came up on a ticker, and I was like, what? Or I think Randy Hahn mentioned it during the Sharks game. He's like, yeah, he's got 25 points in 11 games. I'm like, excuse me, why the fuck isn't he lighting up the highlight reels? Why the fuck isn't NHL tweeting him out? Like, market your shit, man. Holy crap. Nashville is not a large hockey market, but they are dedicated. Come on.
NHL Public Relations put out this tweet. He had, again, 28 points in 14 games. Only 2 defensemen in league history, Bobby Orr and Paul Coffey, have recorded more points in a single calendar month. Orr had 31 points in 15 games back in March of 1971, and Paul Coffey had 29 points in 14 games played, so only one more than Yossi back in December of 85. Literally.
That's in the 80s and 70s, too, when some could argue. Yeah, that's what the fuck. Like, that, I don't know, like a PR, yeah. Like, that should be celebrated, man. That should have been hyped up a lot more than it was. Again, I'm not on Twitter as much, but from you hearing what you're saying about it, I don't think the NHL, and I don't think there was a whole lot of buzz around that. I doubt Sportsnet did anything. I doubt. Yeah, that's crazy.
He is currently on pace, and this is insanity to think about this, because again, we are talking about a defenseman. He is currently on pace. Oh my God, for over 100 points as a defenseman.
I say he does it.
I hope he does.
I hope he does.
Man.
That would be incredible. Set the bar high, man. Make Makar chase some of that shit. But
he's on pace. Elite Prospects has him at 80 games played, 100 points.
Yeesh. I mean, I doubt he gets
outrageous.
That. That last month is not sustainable in any shape or form, but
yeah,
I'd love to see something crazy.
The Vezina Trophy, Shesterkin. Obviously, if he's winning the Hart, he's winning the Vezina.
Yeah, hard to argue.
The Calder, Moritz Seider. He still has my vote.
I've now 100% on the Seider train. The more I watch that kid fucking play, I just gush over him, man. He's an absolute fucking unit, number one. He's insane as a defensively, and he's silky smooth with the puck, and he can produce offensively. This guy, Yzerman, is a fucking genius. Like, this kid could be incredible. Like, I've talked about so much how, like, I think the next step, I mean, we've had the waves of, like, here's, like, these new, like the new kind of bar that was set by the Erik Karlssons and now kind of followed up by like a Kale McCarrs and stuff like that. And then Fox sort of, has a bit more of a two-way game and stuff like that. I think Moritz Seider is going to be the new prototype for what people are going to try to draft in a defenseman. A two-way game, like just perfect. Like, holy shit.
I basically view it, and their games aren't identical. They basically have their new Lidstrom for the next 2 decades.
Yes.
That's...
Yeah.
And he's worthy of that comparison so far off of
Absolutely.
what he's doing. I mean,
absolutely.
He's
got
handles
and edges like close to Makar, but then he's got a body size and a hitting ability of like a fucking Pronger. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's insane how good he is, and I'm so jealous of the Red Wings. I'm glad they're not in the West anymore.
He is currently 4th in scoring amongst rookies. Bunting leads the way with 51, 50 for Raymond, 49 for Zegras. And obviously, Cole Caulfield was named March Rookie of the Month. He'd be in contention had Martin St. Louis been the coach of the Habs from the start of the season onward.
Well, there you go.
And then Jack Adams and Jim Gregory GM of the Year award, it's the same too for me. It's still Rod Brindamore for the Carolina Hurricanes and Bill Zito for the Florida Panthers.
Yes, Florida. It has to be Florida. He has just gone above and beyond. Dude,
he acquired Claude Giroux.
Yes. Like that should be enough, but also the Sam Bennett thing, was that technically during this year?
That was last year.
Oh, was it? Ah, shit. Well,
yeah.
Still. He's been insane. Like, the signings... Duclair was last year
last
too.
year
God
as
damn,
well.
Dude.
Yeah.
My timeline's all screwed. He should have won it last year. Who got it last year?
I think he might have.
Oh.
Or not. No, it went to Lou, didn't it? It went to Leon Morello. Did it not?
Probably.
Jim Gregory, GM of the Year award. Did it go?
I think that's
to
where
Lou
the joke
Lamoriello
came
last
from.
year.
Or...
Oh yeah, it went to Lou. It's gone to Lou the last 2 years in a row.
That's so fucking stupid. He's done nothing. AKA
at least
Barry Trotz Award.
I mean, there were the conference finals, or at least the one conference finals appearance, but yeah, no, that's...
Yeah, it has to be Zito. Yeah.
Yeah. So, there you go.
Do it like they did Doughty. Hey, you could have won it last season. We're going to give it to you this season. Even though he could have earned it this season on his own, too. Fuck Drew Doughty. All right.
The Leo DiCaprio Revenant Award for Defensive Excellence goes to Drew Doughty.
Didn't even have to get mauled by a bear.
Oh, God. With that as well, did want to work in some viewer questions here. I wasn't sure whether or not to go to them first or some of the updated award stuff, but there you go for the award stuff. For those keeping tally, I imagine we'll feel the same way. Unless something drastic happens at the end of this month. In terms of viewer questions, though, as always, the link to the Discord is in the description, whether or not you're watching or listening to this particular podcast. Check out the podcast questions section. First up, from one Mr. Killer Socks. When you go to a wedding, are you one of the people partying or one of the people not partying?
Such a random fucking question. Who doesn't party at a wedding? Who's sitting there by themselves? That's weird.
Oh, God. I mean, I'm definitely not like full on wallflower, but I'm also not the one out there trying to be the center of attention.
Oh, yeah, that's
I'm the hang out with my primary group, but also bounce around depending on how many people I know at the wedding.
Yeah, depends on your definition of partying. Last wedding I went to was... Oh, that didn't count. Well, yeah, I mean... Well, it depends. It's like there's various weddings. Like some of them aren't party weddings. Like some of them, I mean, I'm pretty decent at socializing as long as I could, go home the next day and see nothing and do nothing and recharge. So I don't know.
Right.
I go with the flow. Like I read the vibes. I'm not trying to go against the current and trying to do like you said, like be a center of attention and start stuff. Like I'm not that person, but I go with the flow and I go with the vibes.
Right. This one's from AJ, specifically for me being a gigantic wrestling nerd. And says, WrestleMania is this weekend. What are your top 5 favorite matches or moments from the history of WrestleMania? Now, I've mentioned it 1,000 times, right? Like, I'm not a gigantic WWE fan at this point in my life. I've moved on. I literally talked about how I'm going to an AEW show this upcoming Wednesday. So in terms of the idea of like, oh, do you plan on watching? No, I didn't watch last year's either. I barely watched the year before. It's just one of those things. Like, I'll still keep up to date with it. There's still a wrestling-based podcast, Post Wrestling, that I listen to. I've followed those guys for 10 years now. And there are still some YouTubers that I'll check out that, do like, oh, here's the preview of what it's going to be and my thoughts on how things are going to go. I actually just watched Brian Zane's recap, Old Wrestling with Regret, which is a good channel, by the way, not just for people that want to keep up to date with current stuff, but he does a lot of retrospective stuff. The funny thing is, though, and I have to mention this really quickly now that I brought him up, because screw it, why not? I'm going to go on a little side tangent here because I can. Because, damn it, my name's on the marquee, and Sin's here, too, and we love him for it. Well, no, so basically what had happened is on this particular channel, he had one of his friends, and his friends kind of made supported what was a transphobic post. And then yesterday, I think it was yesterday, it might have been today, but I think it was yesterday, which yesterday, by the way, was International Transgender Day of Visibility. And he doubles down on his transgender or transphobic takes. Ugh, just, man. And I say all of this to say that to anybody that follows me, follows this podcast, follows Sin, that happens to be a part of that community, we love you, and you are more than welcome. And I will always reiterate this point. Just let people be people. Let them live their lives. If they're not hurting you or anyone else, shut the fuck up. Let them live their lives. It's not that difficult. And I will preface this next point by saying a little bit of I don't know, maybe a bit of an anxiety trigger warning. Skip 30 seconds ahead or so. We are on a giant floating space rock. Life is fucking horrifying. If someone wants to, let someone do what they want to do to be happy. Let them be who they are. What the fuck's the matter with you?
Yeah.
God damn it. That's just my big takeaway from it. Let people be who the fuck they want to be if they're not hurting anybody. Because God damn it.
People will literally write laws to bully one person instead of going to therapy. Go to therapy, Utah. Fucking pricks. Lick my balls before.
His manscaped shaven sack. So to anybody that might be watching this show that maybe is thinking like, oh, I don't know how I feel about, let people be people. And if you can't let people be people, then you need to have some introspection. You need some introspection. Take a look at yourself and think like, hey, well, people I like and people that I follow, like Tougie and Sin, they're supportive. Why aren't I supportive? Start thinking. Anyway, wrestling. Sin, I apologize. I mean, I know you don't care that I'm like, hey, I went on a rant about supporting people. Yeah. I'm sure you're not going to be concerned.
About that life.
Yeah. So, WrestleMania-wise, obviously I was a gigantic wrestling fan. Top 5 matches or moments from the history of WrestleMania. Number 1 all time is Bret Hart and Owen Hart at WrestleMania 10 because it was the best. It's the best example of storytelling maybe in wrestling history, because who that at least has siblings cannot relate to the little child, the little brother, being like, hey, fuck you, I'm better than you, and I'm going to test my older brother to prove that I'm better. I mean, shit. I grew up, my best friend has 2 older brothers. I literally got a nice view at that shit of the older brother being like, I'm better than you, and the younger brother being like, maybe not. So it's one of the most relatable things that they ever did. God, what else? Jesus, I mean, you're asking, what's this weekend? WrestleMania 38? You're asking me to review like 34 that I actually saw. Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30. Chris Benoit at WrestleMania 20. God damn. Let's just go with those. Those are my top 3. Those are my top 3. Fuck it.
I'm excited for this next one.
Yes, this comes from Mr. Reds Rebels. If you were skilled enough to make the pros in each of the 4 major sports, what would your archetype be? So, I don't know. Do we want to do each of the 4 major sports or just pick one sport and say what we think we'd be?
Pretty quick. If we can't do them quick, we could just blow by it.
The NFL.
All right. I would be a halfback. Probably elusive back. I was always really, really quick on my feet. And even quicker off my feet. Just kidding. That's a suicide burn, kids. Anyway. So yeah, elusive halfback, football.
I was always I loved playing tight end, to be honest. Tight end or linebacker.
You would. That's
yeah. Like it's just the idea of like, okay, oh, you're big, get on the offensive line. It's like, man, I got hands too.
Yep.
I can catch a football. Fuck's sake.
Tight end.
Like it's just I'm deceptively fast for someone my size. Like just let me show some skill. So that's definitely what it would be. Basketball. God, if it was when I was good at basketball, which was middle school, I was a freak. Okay. Big power forward or center that can shoot threes. I'm basically Dirk Nowitzki.
There you go. Basketball for me. Depth point guard, because I'm fucking 5'9" or 5'10". But I did have good handles, and I did play basketball up until I realized I wasn't going to get much taller. So
I had shit handles, but I could work the post, and I had a decent shot.
I had an okay shot, but I was really good at layups until, I can't fucking lay it in past people who are, way taller than me.
Oh, God. Baseball. Leave it up to you first.
This is a weird one. Fuck it. I'll be a knuckleballer.
Hey, there you go.
There you go. That's my only chance of making it realistically anyway.
God, for me, I always just think back to what I was when I played, and baseball-wise, and I've always talked about this, obviously MLB The Show 22 came out, so we started our new Road to the Show on that, and I always set up my guy as I was. Like, I would always play corner outfield or first base. I had a pretty solid glove, and then swing-wise, it's fucking double plus or nothing. Like, basically, Joey Gallo.
I'm a slappy hitter. Yeah, I was always more of a slappy hitter. Like, when I go to the batting cages, I'm always like, sometimes I like to swing hard, and but usually I'm like, ooh, would that be a base hit? I was always about single.
I had the worst, no disrespect to them, but fuck them, whatever. I had the worst coaches growing up playing baseball who would just never help me correct my swing. And it's gotten a little bit better. I haven't played in a couple of years now because of the pandemic, but it's just that idea of I would always uppercut the ball, essentially, because it would almost kind of not morph into a hockey swing, but it would, my body would be like slap shot.
Yeah.
So if I hit the damn thing, it would go. But it would just be a matter if I'd hit the thing. It's why, literally, if people watch me play MLB The Show, I suck at hitting anything high up in the zone. But if it's low around the knees, I can golf that shit and send it flying.
There you go.
Literally, it's just watch me play MLB The Show, and that is how I ended up playing baseball. So, yeah, it would be that. And then hockey-wise.
Europe is pissed right now that we didn't consider football one of the 4 major sports, but we understand what was meant by this question.
We can add the footy.
No, I don't know. I don't know where I would play.
Oh God, a defensive midfielder.
See,
because I feel like being an outright center back is too much responsibility.
All I can think of with that is lacrosse. That's the closest I've gotten. I know more about lacrosse positions. I'd be a long pole midfielder. There you go.
Yep, that's a thing. I believe. Yeah. And God, the bandy supporters are going to be pissed.
Yeah, so hockey's going to be easy for me because I played it all through high school.
Left wing.
No,
lefty.
I was a center. Well, I was a center that also would drop back to play some defense, but I couldn't back skate too well, so I'd do a lot more. And archetype-wise, man, dude, it's kind of tough. Like, I'd probably be a sniper because I would score a lot, but I had a deceptively good wrister. Like, my technique was horrible on my wrist shot, but it's not as heavy as a puck, so it didn't matter, and I'd just pick corners all day. So, yeah, like a center sniper with some elements of grinders because I was really, really good on the draws. I won 70% in my senior year. 70% face-offs. I am so proud of that stat, dude. Like, beyond proud. And we also won, I think, the winter season championship as well.
Fucking Al Bundy over here. And that's how he gets in the choke on his drink.
I feel like Michael Scott. I need a bucket. I need a spit take. Oh, fuck.
Oh, God. Same thing as how I always play Ishil. If it... Like center, it would definitely be more of the just get in front of goal, try to make things happen. Defense, it'd be more stay at home. Yeah. But I'd probably pick goaltender. Like I always grew up, like like that's where I wanted to play. Like if I'm like, if I want to make it hockey wise, I want to be a goalie. Your boy got priced out of that. Shout out to lower middle class families growing up.
Yeah. I had to get hand me downs from a buddy of mine who lived on the cool part of town. I got like a full set of gear.
Sin had the hookup, but goalie wise, like that's I always think back to it, and I don't have it here with me. I think it's at my parents' house. Shout out to parents who let you use their basement for storage instead of getting a storage unit.
My sister's using up my dad's entire garage, man. Can't even keep shit in there, fucker.
I grew up with this. It was kind of poster style, but it was like on a piece of wood. I don't know, basically a poster, and it was all the goalie masks. And it's like, as a kid, like I'm like, yes, like it called to me. It called to me. It was the best.
My buddy's dad, the two guys I grew up with and played hockey with on the streets. Sorry. Streets. The streets of Morgan Hill. So mean. Anyway, he was a goalie, played like ice, played for the senior Sharks for a while too. But yeah, he had that. I know the exact poster that you're talking about. He had that framed alongside of a Tretiak jersey that was framed, and that poster.
God, we started talking about posters, and I think back. My dad has an office, kind of more like a man cave. And I'm like, yeah, here, just keep these posters. I don't have space for them here or whatever. And the posters I gave him were of Tuukka Rask, David Krejci, and Zdeno Chara. So when I went to visit for my birthday, it kind of clicked like, oh, fuck, none of them are Bruins anymore.
Oh, no.
It was so goddamn sad, but
don't give him a Pasternak or Marchand one. You never know what'll happen.
Jesus Christ, no. Our last question comes from Mr. Broken Wheelchair, who mentions Auston Matthews is 171 goals behind Matt Sundin with 2 years left before he hits free agency. Note, him leaving is not a relevant argument to have right now.
Damn.
I think that he added that.
Yeah.
How close does he get to Sundin's record before the summer of 2024? Now, obviously, it kind of brings us into our first big convo of the day, 40 minutes into the show.
Probably within 70. I think he's going to be... I think he hits... He's approaching that age. I think he's going to have 2 50-goal seasons coming up, or at least the equivalent of that. I'd be surprised.
Right, so last night he hit 50 goals for the first time in his career. There were injuries and obviously other circumstances that stopped him from hitting that marker before. Obviously, there's still time left this season. He's probably going to finish with somewhere between 50 and 60. He could even, who's to say? I want to see, and again, shout out to Elite Prospects. Granted, it wasn't difficult to do the math to find out, what your pace is for points and goals. But they added just the outright projection number there. He's on pace for 62 goals still this season. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think he gets to within 70. I think it'll take him... He will have to extend that contract to pass Matt Sundin. He will. He is 24 years old. If he stays a Leaf, will pass Matt Sundin by age 28 at the latest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Guaranteed. He's just getting... He's not in the prime yet, but he's approaching. Essentially, when that contract's up, he'll be in his...
Yeah.
Oh, exactly how he planned it, and can't believe... I still can't believe they... Anyway.
He has 249 goals and just under 400 career games.
He's going to look great in a Sharks jersey.
Could you imagine?
Yes, I could.
You've been dreaming of it.
I wanted Tavares, and that didn't happen.
It's a good thing it didn't, by the way.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. depends on how much you believe in the analytical perspective, but you know.
Yeah.
You know,
he was going to be signed for 13 too, by the way, in San Jose. That was the offer. That was the fucking offer they made, dude. I'm pretty sure it was 13. It was 12.
Be happy with Tomas Hertl for 8,
dude,
is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's very, very good. Happy with it.
Holy shit. So Matthews joins Rick Vive, who did it 3 times, by the way, Gary Lehman, and Dave Andrechuk as the only 50 goal scorers in Leafs history.
Oh,
they've
Leafs
only
history.
Sorry. Yeah, I accidentally wrote NHL.
I was like, excuse me, Danny Heatley, 50 and 07.
But yeah, so Rick Vive did it 3 times as a Leaf, Gary Lehman, Dave Andrechuk. So he is the 4th member of the Leafs to get it done. And I wanted to look at the original 6 to see how many people have hit 50 goals before. So for the Boston Bruins, the Chief Johnny Busick, he did it once. Ken Hodge did it once. Nifty Rick Middleton did it once. Cam Neely did it 3 times, including a 50 and 50. And then Phil Esposito, who we talked about on this show recently. 5 times he scored 50 goals in a season as a Bruin.
250 goals in 5 seasons.
Oh,
again, I still don't understand how he's not talked about more in the elite class of all-timers. It's
of that era.
Yeah.
Like, the NHL, thank God, named him to like alongside Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane as one of the 100 greatest players of all time.
Over Joe Thornton. Go fuck yourself.
Oh, God. But yeah, no, Phil Esposito's insane. So 5 Bruins to do it, 2 of them at least more than once. The Chicago hockey team, Al Secor did it once, Jeremy Roenick did it twice, and Bobby Hull did it 5 times. No one's really debating how good on the ice Bobby Hull was. Go figure. There's often those conversations surrounding Chicago. Hey, he's good on the ice, but what about off? The Detroit Red Wings, Mickey Redmond did it twice. Danny Grant, John Ogrodnik, which is one of my favorite names. Fedorov did it once. Ray Shepard, and then Steve Yzerman did it 5 times. So the Red Wings just blowing everyone else out of the damn water in terms of 50 goal scorers for the teams we've talked about so far. And then there's Montreal. Maurice Richard, the Rocket, he did it once. Only one 50-goal season.
Yeah, I was like, wait a sec. No way. That's nuts.
Very weird.
Change the name to LaFleur. Clearly.
As we are going to actually looking at Richard's numbers, though. I mean, it is very strange, that he only scored 50 goals once, and it was in his 2nd full season.
Wow. Huh.
Keep in mind, though, he averaged like 50 to 60 games played.
No.
So,
okay.
But that would be why. Obviously, the shorter schedule, but still.
Yeah.
Bernie Geoffrion, Steve Shutt, Pierre Larouche, Stéphane Richer, all did it once, and then Guy Lafleur 6 times.
Silly.
Jesus Christ. And then, shockingly, are the New York Rangers, who have also, alongside Chicago, only had 3 people accomplish the feat, but no multi-time performers. Vic Hadfield, Adam Graves, and Jaromir Jagr, each with 1 50-goal season as a Ranger.
Adam Graves, baby. Sharks.
Oh, God. So, yeah, I just thought it was interesting to kind of look back to see who had 50-goal seasons. Matthews, though, does become the first NHLer to reach the 50-goal mark in a season with 62 games played or fewer since 95-96. Mario Lemieux and 3 others did it in that season, which is insane. Think about that. In 1995-96, 4 people hit 50 goals before the 62-game played mark.
What a race.
This comes from Down Goes Brown. Matthews now leads the NHL in career goals by players drafted in 2011 or later. He was drafted in 2016.
5 years after. What a fucking beauty.
He had a fucking 5-year head start on some of these people in the 2011 drafts. And somehow, some way, he's ahead. That was the stat where I'm like, holy shit. Like, that really puts it into perspective of just how dominant Auston Matthews is.
5 seasons with all the injuries too, by the way, that he's suffered. Like 5 seasons. That's insane.
So think about that. That 2011 class in terms of goals, Landeskog, Kucherov, Scheifele, Zibanejad, Saad, Johnny Gaudreau.
Whoa.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's even more
impressive. He is ahead of Nikita Kucherov. Kucherov did, of course, miss a season.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not as if Matthews hasn't missed time either.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a lot of different injuries over the course of the years.
Yeah, 2011, the only guy over 200 goals is Philip Forsberg. 2013 has Nathan McKinnon, Barkov, and Sean Monahan over 200 goals. 2014, Draisaitl, Pasternak. He just pulled ahead of Draisaitl, I believe, or Draisaitl might have tied him last night either. It's like he and Draisaitl are like fucking neck and neck. But again, Draisaitl had the extra year, the 2-year head start, and obviously 2015 is McDavid over 200. And yeah, Matthews is 1 up on Leon Draisaitl. Draisaitl at 248, Matthews at 249. Insanity. Absolute insanity. And I think one of the reasons why a lot of Leafs fans are like, better than McDavid. And you know what? Even if I don't agree, I'll let them have it. I'll let them have it. Sin won't, but that's okay.
No, I absolutely will not.
I wish Endo was here for this because I wanted to talk Leafs Bruins really quickly. The Leafs did win 6-4 in that game on Thursday night. Of course, it started right as Endo and I were finishing up the podcast. Peter Marazzic, or Tuesday night, excuse me. Peter Marazzic ended up getting injured in that game. He's out for a minimum of 6 weeks for what has been
poor guy.
Just a nightmare season. I feel for the guy at this point because my God. However, in this game, the main talking point, and Sin, I don't know if you've seen it, was the incident between Taylor Hall and Ilya Lyubushkin. Hall, approaching the red line, pivots to protect the puck and dump it in. Lyubushkin did go for the contact, which happened to be kind of in the back, in the numbers. You could argue maybe even close to the side. Regardless, Hall goes head/shoulder first into the boards. Now, I feel like a lot of people haven't seen this part, that part of the clip. Because the main thing and the main post, especially on our hockey on Reddit, was just circulating of what happened afterwards, where Hall gets up and essentially sucker punches Lyubushkin from behind. Now, look, I'll flat out admit there have been a lot of very dumb Bruins fans who are like, it wasn't even that hard of a hit. Fuck that attitude. Lyubushkin leaves the game, confirmed head injury from Sheldon Keefe. The result is Taylor Hall getting fined $5,000. For his actions, the maximum allowable under the CBA for roughing.
Heard that a lot.
So here's my take on this trademark. Lyubushkin, not necessarily at fault for the hit. It wasn't overly predatory. The end result of the contact was rough. It depends on obviously what the rules are, where you think the rules should be in your interpretation of all of that, because Lord knows we're all allowed different interpretations of the rule book because the NHL has different interpretations of the rule book for every single incident that happens. I think it's understandable, in a sense, that Taylor Hall got up and was pissed. It's not, I do not condone the fact that he punched the guy from behind. If you're mad about it, fucking grab him by the shoulder, turn him around, and tell him let's go. You don't sucker punch the dude from behind. That's bullshit. That is. So I don't condone what Hall did. At the same time, I agree that the contact from Lyubushkin was a bit overshadowed. Hall getting fined $5,000 instead of a suspension. It's the DOPS. What else are we going to say? Should it have been a suspension? Fucking probably. At least a game, maybe 2. At the same time, like Reddit's like social media is obviously a tire fire. Oh, Bruins fans are condoning this, and oh, they're defending it, and oh, Bruins dirty, and oh, Jack Edwards defended it, even though in the clip it was Andy Brickley, but we don't know Andy Brickley. It's just Jack Edwards because Jack Edwards bad. Like, obviously, people just going full fucking diaper over this. I think this is just a continuation of the entire season, the NHL, and for the past couple of years, we've heard the terms or the phrase "letting things get out of hand." We heard that when Auston Matthews cross-checked the guy in the head during the outdoor game and got suspended for 2 games. It's the inconsistency summed up perfectly in these Leafs 2 games because their very next game they played the Winnipeg Jets and Michael Bunting was cross-checked in the head by Ville Heinola, and I have been checking Twitter all day long and there's fucking nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Bad.
Nothing's going to happen.
That's real bad. It's because that needs to be punished. Especially now with the Leafs, and they've got this kind of victim mentality going on, and the DPS is actually adding fuel to that fire by not taking action when it's a similar sort of play to what Matthews was suspended for. Yes, he should have been suspended for it. Yes, Heinola should have been suspended for it. But to go back on that Hall thing, I saw a lot of comparisons that I got to squash right now to the fucking Bertuzzi and Steve Moore incident. Shut the fuck up. Like, you are cheapening what happened in that incident by trying to compare it to this. You can't just say he sucker punched him from behind. He's Bertuzzi. Man, that's not even where the injury came from to Moore. Like, it was the forcing him down in the ice with all his body weight, and then the ensuing...
He drove him forehead first into the ice.
Yes, like, dude, you guys have to stop. I understand emotions are high. I understand that, but that's all I got to say about that. But yeah, I think... Again, I'm going to say it should have been a suspension, probably. But the people saying it should have been as much as the Matthews incident, no. A cross-check is worse than a punch. I'm sorry. A stick is deadlier than a fist. That's just basic shit. So I'd say 1 to 2 games for Hall would have been good. Matthews deserved 3+, honestly. But it is what it is.
You mentioned something. I think that's the reason why... Honestly, and I don't have anything against the majority of Leafs fans, but there are that pocket that you said victim mentality, and it's been exacerbated by incidents like this. Mm-hmm. Oh, every team likes fucking with us by claiming all of our players off of waivers. Yes. The refs are against us. The Department of Player Safety is against us. There are legitimate complaints, but at the same time, yes, there are a lot of people who have bought very fucking heavily into everyone's against us and the victim mentality, and I think that's where a lot of the toxicity goes back and forth between people calling out Leafs fans. You have a legitimate gripe. There should have been something for Taylor Hall. There definitely should have been something for Ville Heinola. And of course, for Hall, there was a $5,000 fine. It should have been probably a suspension because I think you need to stamp that shit out. You cannot just fucking... Even if it's a bad hit, you can't just get up and sucker punch a guy from behind.
Yeah.
But again, that's where the argument
they were,
comes.
Making the thing like, oh, we got to get rid of this, people starting fights without, the other person accepting it. I'm like, I guess a sucker punch is kind of in that same vein. But hey, they also said they're going to stamp out cross-checking this year. And, well, they sure as hell didn't do that. Look at Heinola, look at Matthews. I mean, neither of them were punished enough.
I think there was even an incident in the Sharks-Avs game where Kadri felt like he got cross-checked in the back by Hurdle and ended up head first, shoulder first into the boards and was a bit roughed up by that. And he threw his helmet off towards the ref or some shit like that. I don't want to comment on it too specifically. I haven't really seen the clip, but this conversation for me isn't a Leafs fans victim mentality, victim complex thing. It's just... What more can be said when we all know how fucked up the state of officiating and especially how fucked up the inconsistencies are with the Department of Player Safety? It's gotten to the point where I've seen people leave comments of oh, the NHL is just employing George Parros at this point so he won't file a concussion lawsuit. And honestly, I tend to believe them.
It's hard not to.
How else do you explain George Parros still being in his position here? Because if the problem is it's been bad for season after season after season, it feels like it's getting worse.
Yes, it absolutely is. I saw some kind of comment being made. It's interesting and it's very conspiratorial, but what if the refs are so bad this year to protest the Tim Peel firing? They're being bad on purpose. I'm but it does bring up the question of why is it getting worse? Is it because there's this more microscope on them? But there should be because I don't know. I don't have an answer and I don't know why. But officiating and enforcement has just been awful. They can't even be consistent over the season. They were cross check. Everyone's getting called for cross checks preseason. Okay, let's not call it anymore. What do you expect? No one's going to adjust. They're not. We got to the point where people adjusted to not interfering with each other. People adjusted to not clutch and grabbing. after the lockout of '06, and because they were fucking consistent. They didn't care about in the beginning of the season how much higher the scores were and how the goalies were bitching and moaning. They'd kept the fucking rules, and people adjust. And I don't know why we can't do that.
You could literally, like, the graphs are out there to show like how consistently stick related penalties were being called at the start of the season for like the first couple weeks, and then right back down.
Yeah,
right back down. And like you said, you stick to it, people adapt, and the game evolves, potentially for the better. I mean, Jesus Christ, we've been without the 2-line pass for almost 20 years now. Pretty sure the game's more free-flowing because of it. Like, it's just, we've had this conversation so many times as hockey fans, and we'll continue to have it, and the only way I can think to really sum this up is by saying, guys and gals listening to this show, the playoffs are going to be brutal. And I personally, as a Bruins fan, am going to do my best to not complain. Because it's going to happen. You know, you can sit here and, you know, something's inevitable and still complain about it, and that's fine, I think, depending on the subject. But in the context of a sport, it's not worth the energy, the stress, the frustration, I think, for any of us as hockey fans to be outraged, because the NHL has made it very clear over the past few years, and especially this season, they are okay with the officiating and the DOPS having the current standards that they do, which of course are a complete lack of standard. So just expect it. The playoffs, I honestly, in a sense, I feel like it would almost be better to be in like Sin's situation here of you just get to be excited about the draft. Like, you knew your team probably wouldn't be a playoff team this year. You just get to be excited about the draft. Meanwhile,
I'm excited about Vegas missing the playoffs.
There you go. Like, literally, you get to watch the playoffs and not really have a vetted interest in what's going to happen.
Honestly, sometimes I like that more.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just get to enjoy hockey. Like, and I don't feel emotionally invested. Because that sucks. I'm not going to lie, man. Like, when I think about it, being a sports fan can really suck sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like I look at this and I think back to so many different moments. Like, for example, like I think back to when the Bruins played the Lightning a couple of years ago, when the Lightning were going to win that series, but it was the moment where Tuukka Rask lost his skate blade. And it was the moment afterwards where he grabs the skate blade and he's like shaking it at the fucking referee's face. And then it's like, is that a rule? Is that not a rule? It's just so many of it is stressful. Obviously, I don't have to mention the fucking Sharks Vegas penalty situations and shit like that. It's just, we all know that the standard of officiating and what the DOPS does right now actively hurts fandom. I think that's the best way to word it. Like, it's making it more challenging to become a fan of hockey. And I think anyone that's listened to the show really kind of from the beginning has kind of seen like that evolution of it. Even when Deej was on the show with me, he and I had those conversations of like, it's getting more difficult. And heading into the season, I had those conversations of like, I'm not really looking forward to this season. And I still watch as many games as I can, non-Bruins related, because I'm a hockey fan. But it's like, Jesus, it's like you watch a game and almost expect like, okay, what's tonight's incident going to be?
Yep.
And that's not what it should be. It should be like, oh, cool, what cool shit am I going to see tonight? How good of a game is this going to be? Not how is this game negatively affected by the league itself. So we'll leave it at that for now. I do want to move on to talking about the Bruins here really quickly as well, just because obviously we talked about the Leafs. The Bruins absolutely pooped on the New Jersey Devils last night to officially eliminate the Devils from playoff contention. This was one of the craziest games I've seen. An 8-1 final score. The Bruins were up 2-1 at the end of the first, and then 8-1 at the end of the second. Shout out to the man with the most Massachusetts name of all time, Mac McLaughlin.
Oh my God.
Fucking Mac. Billerica getting the goal. But yeah, Mark McLaughlin, who was an NCAA signing, which was awesome. That was a great moment. It was kind of similar to what happened when Matt Boldy for the Wild was in Boston for his NHL debut and scored as well. I never get overly hyped for undrafted NCAA signings because the success rate is few and far between.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, like I've pointed this out before. You can look at certain guys, undrafted dudes, where it's like, oh, dude, they're going to get to the NHL and they're going to tear it up. And one of the names, no disrespect to him, but one of the names that comes to mind for me is someone like Mike Vecchioni, who was signed by the Flyers. He's currently with the Caps, and this guy was insane for Union College. I look back to when he was signed. Let's see. In his 3 seasons at Union, 34 points in 38 games, 50 in 39, wow, and then 29 in 34. And then in his senior year, 63 points in 38 games.
Whoa.
Just destroying the NCAA. He has played 3 NHL games to date. No points. Because it's such a gap between college and making that NHL leap. Not too many people really do it effectively. So I'm excited for Mark McLaughlin. It adds a little bit more depth. I'm excited for Erik Haula. I made my concerns very clear about Erik Haula, especially in comparison to someone like Andrew Kopp, who for the Rangers has 7 points in 5 games, which is amazing. But Erik Haula has been fantastic.
I'm happy.
He scored again last night. And obviously, again, as a Bruins fan, I said throughout the deadline in regards to the moves they made and the moves they didn't, prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong. Haula has 8 points in his last 5 games. So if that pace can continue, then yeah, the Bruins are looking decent. I was never rooting against Erik Haula. We'll see what happens come playoff time, but the Bruins are looking pretty damn good, all things considered. Wanted to mention one of the negatives before going into one of the positives here, and then we'll have just a bunch of other random stats that I found were interesting over the past few days. Arizona, unfortunately, last night, or 2 nights ago, maybe it was, major injury. I think it was 2 nights ago now that Clayton Keller fractured his leg. He will be out for the season. Sin, as crazy as it sounds, like he was 4th on the NHL's active Ironman streak. He had played 357 consecutive games, only trailing Brent Burns, who I believe was at 663. And then you have Kessel at 967 and Keith Yandel at 989, although the word is out today that he's having a bit of a disagreement with the Flyers. The Flyers kind of want to play some of those younger guys, so it's kind of unknown what's going to happen to the current active Ironman streak of Keith Yandel at 989, which is an all-time NHL record. But brutal for Clayton Keller. He started off this season slow, ends up at 63 points in 67 games. The best season of his career. He was absolutely fantastic, and it sucks to see any player, especially a young guy, he's going to turn 24 in July. It sucks to see anybody kind of get hurt like that.
Yeah,
I believe it was a broken femur was the injury.
Pretty brutal. Like, it looked real.
So, I mean, you talk about it. There's the argument like, oh, broken femur, maybe not as bad as ligament damage because, I mean, bone can heal. And you look at Kevin Fiala right now as someone that suffered a broken femur a few years ago, and he's doing very, very well now, of course, in Minnesota. So best wishes to Clayton Keller. That is, it's unfortunate for sure. And then the last kind of bigger story here, wanted to kind of bring it up to a high note. The Buffalo Sabres are raising a banner tonight for commentator Rick Jeanneret. 50 years, as we've talked about before. 50-plus years now of calling Sabres games. Basically there, I think, since the second season. Might even been there since day one. This will probably be the only Sabres game all season that sells out. Again, if they don't show up because the team sucks, it's fine. But if the Coyotes fans don't show up because the team sucks, then move the team. But Rick Jeanneret's incredible. He is incredible. He is one of the best personalities I think we've ever seen in hockey history. He has one of the more distinct voices and presence on the microphone that anybody's ever had.
He's got such a cool voice. I don't even know how to place it. Just hearing some of his own, especially when, back in, the 90s and shit, when the fights constantly, he was so good at, talking about that, when they had Barnaby and did they have Rob Ray for a while too? I think.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
And they had, I mean, like the Mayday call for the Brad May goal, the LaFontaine goal calls. He's incredible.
Yeah.
He is incredible. He's 79 years old. Obviously the one thing that you wish he could have gotten the call was a cup win there.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Dallas Stars. But yeah, no, he's incredible, and definitely one of those people that I look at is like, okay, you think about some of the commentators, and I don't want to say in modern times it's difficult, but right now there aren't as many people. I feel like if commentators who cover a specific team are mentioned, it's more often than not like the Jack Edwards type of thing. Where it's like, okay, he's notable, but for the wrong reasons for most people. Or like how Altitude Sports for Colorado, if you ever listen to them, the Avalanche score and they're fucking popping off confetti cannons. And the Detroit Red Wings score, it's 2-1 Colorado. Like, it's like that's why people are notable. No, Rick Janneret's a goddamn legend. And I don't know if he's in the Hockey Hall of Fame. I don't know if they put commentators in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Put Rick Janneret in the Hockey Hall of Fame. The man's a goddamn treasure. That is my standpoint. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Sim, with that, I had this as random story fun time as the section, or random stat fun time, whatever, because it's just a bunch of random things that didn't really, I don't know if they'll lead to a greater conversation, but it's like, holy hell. New York Rangers. Chris Kreider has tied Jaromir Jagr's team record for power play goals in a season with 24. He did it in 15 fewer games. Now, Hockey Stat Miner on Twitter put this into even greater detail. Jagr scored his 24 power play goals when the league averaged 5.9 power play opportunities per game. This season, the league is averaging 2.9 power play opportunities a game. So literally, we are right now in a
season where they're fucking calling people left and right for interference and hooking and shit. Yeah.
Yep. The Brian McCabe clutch and grab era was over. Yep. So in 05-06, the Rangers had a total of 83 power play goals. Jagr had 24 of those, as we've talked about. So we look at that. The Rangers' power play was at 18.9%. 83 power play goals on 440 opportunities. Jagr that season averaged 6 minutes and 12 seconds of power play ice time per game.
That's crazy.
6 minutes of power play time a game.
You're lucky if you even get 3 power plays these days.
Kreider so far this season has, again, 24, much like Jagr. The Rangers only have 49 power play goals in 181 opportunities. So again, the Rangers' percentage in 05-06 with Jagr was at 18.9%. So far this season, the Rangers' power play percentage is 27.1%. Again, just 181 opportunities, 49 goals, 24 of them are from Kreider, who is averaging 257 worth of power play time per game.
Jesus.
The fucking efficiency of Chris Kreider on the power play this season is staggering.
Ruthless. That's crazy, man.
Dude, less than half the power play ice time per game, 15 fewer games, but has as many goals as Jagr did in a completely different era that certainly favored more power play goals.
Nuts.
The reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I obviously, at this rate, I don't think Chris Kreider will get too many nods. He's likely to not win the Rocket Richard. He won't win the Hart. He won't win the Ted Lindsay, but he has had one of the best seasons. Certainly the best season of his career, but this is a astonishingly good season for Chris Kreider.
Yeah. No real other way to say it. Like, holy shit.
For the Pittsburgh Penguins, Sidney Crosby hit 70 points on the year. He is now guaranteed his 17th consecutive season at least a point per game or higher. Second only to Wayne Gretzky. Now, he has tied Gordie Howe with 17 consecutive seasons of at least a point per game pace. Wayne Gretzky's at 19. Sidney Crosby is 34 years old.
Yeah.
He's going to break this Gretzky record.
Oh man, I don't know.
If he stays healthy.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's had so much injury trouble, concussions mainly. I don't see him playing past 38. I hate to say it, but I don't know. I hope he does, because Crosby is incredible. So much of his early career, the man was not protected enough.
And he's just one of the best of all time.
He is. He
right?
really is.
That's all you can say. Like, every time you see a Sidney Crosby stat, you're like, of course, he's that fucking
He was
good.
the best player until about the third season McDavid was in the league, third or fourth.
And, you know, if some people still say that they wanted to take Sidney Crosby now, I could at least understand it.
I could understand the logic. Veteran presence, cup winning, and he still puts up hella points at his age. Like, Edmonton would do it. All those intangibles? Are you kidding me?
Crosby for McDavid. Who says no?
Who says no? 1 for 1.
You mentioned them earlier, the Anaheim Ducks. I wanted to point this out because, again, they spent some time at the top of the Pacific this season. They have lost 10 games in a row. Yeah. One of, I think, numerous teams now to do that this season.
Like, oh, yeah, dude. What the fuck they've been doing? They were first once.
Yeah. 13 of their last 15 games they've lost. They've won. They've gone 4-14-2 since the All-Star break, with wins over the likes of the Sharks and the Bruins. But, yeah, they are... they are on a worse point pace than the San Jose Sharks right now. 66 points for each of the two teams. Sharks have 2 games in hand. And the Sharks did not spend time at the top of the Pacific this season.
No.
At least not for an extended amount of time.
Too busy at going to escape rooms.
There you go. Wait, what?
That's their road trip thing. They have a thing when they go on road trips. They all do escape rooms together. You know what escape rooms are?
I do.
Okay.
I do. There's
I just
actually
learned
one
about 'em.
somewhat local.
Yeah, apparently.
You just learned about them?
I don't fucking... You just...
I don't go out.
the global warming and corporate America.
This escape room brought to you by capitalism and hot temperatures.
Throwing a nice Team America reference there for everyone interested.
Oh, God. Do you think capitalist escape room could be the episode title?
I mean, I haven't heard another good one. Apparently, that's the title now.
Oh,
what was going to be the title before that?
I don't know. I have no idea. We would have had something. I mean, we sat there and talked about random shit for the first 20 minutes of the show, so who knows?
That's very true.
Also, one of the crazy, and again, this is why I have this section. This is one of the craziest stats I've ever heard. With his 71st assist of the season, Jonathan Huberdeau officially holds the record for the most assists by a left winger in a single season.
Pretty silly.
71 was the record, huh? For most assists
winger
in a season by a left winger.
Yeah. I mean, Jumbo had 90 plus one year. Get good.
God. I mean, I guess it's just kind of crazy to show, right? That I guess normally...
When I think of noted left wingers, Ovechkin, Salon... Oh, shit. Was Solani left or right? See, I don't know. Wingers. I always think of wingers.
Yeah, I mean, that's when it's...
Sometimes.
Well, Jesus, there was a time where Alex Ovechkin was number 1 in the All-Star voting for both left wing and right wing. You remember that?
No. I don't remember that at all.
It was incredible. But, like, I think of, like, okay, left wingers, according to records.nhl.com, like, you know, Johnny Busick, Luke Robitaille, Andrechuk, Shanahan, Daniel Sedin, Kirk Muller, Paul Correa. I mean, there's some
crazy,
very, very notable names on that list. But top of that list is Mr. Jonathan Huberdeau, somebody else who there was an NHL like writers voting thing to be like, oh, who's your heart favorite? Like a couple weeks ago when Huberdeau was number 1.
Yeah, I didn't like, but hey,
I didn't like it either.
A good season, but come on, man, that team is stacked.
He is having a tremendous season.
No, yeah, like, I'm not gonna argue that, but that team is also stacked to like if they don't win the cup or at least make it there, like that's. I think they gotta be. I really hope. I want Jumbo. Give the cup. Fuck.
Oh, it's gonna be so bad when the Panthers are jobbed on calls. You're gonna feel it. You're going to feel it.
No, I won't. Just want Jumbo to win a cup, man. I don't care who it's with. Get that man a cup so he can retire and live in Switzerland. Okay.
There you go. More. Can I get a Joe Thornton impression to be like, I want to win a cup?
Boy, win a cup's important for the boys. We're all here in the locker room. Sometime usually naked. It's been a while since I've heard him. I'd have to get back on it, but
it's still pretty good.
Very boisterous guy.
More random NHL history. The all-time record for man games lost in a season was 629 games, set by the 2003 LA Kings. The Montreal Canadiens have surpassed 650 games lost, making the 2021-2022 Montreal Canadiens the most injured team in NHL history.
Whoa. What are man games? What the, games?
So basically, Carey Price has missed 67 games, so that 67 counts towards the total.
All right, that's all right.
Yeah, so basically it's the idea of the cumulative total of how many games your projected starter would have missed.
So Vegas can't fucking piss and moan. Good.
Yes.
Vegas should shut the fuck and lose to the Habs again.
But yeah, so looking at this, Carey Price has not played a game this season. Shea Weber, I think, counts towards that total. He hasn't played a game this season. Jonathan Drouin's only played 34 games. Petrie's obviously out. Gallagher's only played 43 games.
Yeah.
It's
Caulfield better keep a lucky rabbit's foot nearby, a.k.a. his own foot. Little shrimp.
Paul Byron's only played 20 games. You look at this team, and there have been a lot of games. A lot of games.
Thrashed.
Brutal. For the Minnesota Wild, Kirill Kaprizov, 20 points in the month of March, led the NHL with 14 goals over Matthews, Draisaitl, and Brock Nelson, who all had 13.
Brock Nelson, huh?
That's
a name
Brock
I haven't
Nelson.
heard in a positive
all
light
season.
in a while.
Because the Islanders have sucked. Yeah. Worth noting, too, how this has never happened is beyond me. Wild fans have started a new trend of throwing flowers at Marc-Andre Fleury.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened either.
Oh, God. It's got to be very endearing. Wild fans trying to stick it to Golden Knights fans by saying, fuck you, we appreciate him.
Yeah, Vegas clearly didn't. And now they're paying for it.
At least the front office. Maybe, the fans, obviously,
the fans did. But they're all rationalizing it now. Because they have to. Gotta have that copium with everything going wrong with their season.
And the update for the Vegas Golden Knights, they are currently at 1 point back of Dallas for the second wildcard spot. Dallas with 3 games at hand.
A little too close. I hope Edmonton needs to... the thing I'm mostly worried about is Edmonton. Because
Edmonton has 3 points on Vegas with the game at hand.
Okay. So they're still there with the 3 points, but still. Yeah. They're the ones who I think is going to fuck it up and ruin my dreams of Vegas missing.
And to end today's show, there's no better way to end the show than with a quote from Daryl Sutter, head coach of the Calgary Flames, who said this: "We haven't made the playoffs yet. Mentality, you better make sure you make the playoffs, because if you don't have that in your mindset, then you're going to play Colorado as a wild card and you'll get the shit kicked out of you, and I'm not interested in that." Every week he mentions, please God, make sure we don't play Colorado because we're going to get shit kicked, boys.
He gives zero fucks. He's not the guy. If this guy was ever a general, he would be like, "Oh boy, I don't know what to tell you. You better fucking kill 2 apiece or we're all dead." So, dude,
I love him so much. You could tell, obviously, this season he has absolutely passed the threshold of I don't give a shit anymore. Yeah. I am 63 years old. Fuck it. Yeah, I love it. I love it so much.
And he hates media availabilities too, which makes it all the more better. He's always sitting there writing shit or.
Oh my God. I love him so
I always liked him as the Sharks coach back in the day in the late 90s, maybe part of the early 2000s. Oh no, we switched to Ron Wilson, but I liked him as the Sharks coach.
God.
Uh-oh, we're going to do a name those coaches?
Santa, yeah, let's do it. List
I saw you looking something up, and you had a look in your eye. I shouldn't have said anything. God damn it.
I was I was looking up like just Daryl Sutter's kind of history there. But you know what? Screw it. Now we'll do it. Why not? End it on trivia. This will make up for us potentially not having a show on Tuesday. And again, I'll keep you guys updated on Twitter. So, Sin, there have been 10 head coaches in San Jose Sharks history. Can you name them?
God damn. None of the early ones. Drew Remenda was an assistant, so I'm not going to remember him I'm not going to remember anything before Daryl Sutter, and that sucks because he came in around 96, 7, I want to say.
97.
There you go. So
from June of 97 to December of 02, Daryl Sutter, who is... Oh, no, but he's fourth all-time in wins for the Sharks. Okay. So Sutter.
My internet's taking a shit.
Yep. Yes, it is. Look at that. You are quite frozen. There we go.
Okay,
I was wondering what happened.
Stabilizes. Yeah, I'll name all those in order. Daryl Sutter, Ron Wilson.
There is...
Is there someone in between?
Somebody that you're missing, and this has to be the most obscure thing I've ever seen.
I thought we went straight
and there's
from Sutter
not
to
a
Wilson.
chance. There is not a chance in hell that you get this, but technically, are we counting interim head coaches?
Ooh, well, that's
because there are. I think we have to.
Okay. Shit.
So there's a couple of people. So you're right about Daryl Sutter. Ron Wilson was 7th. In between them, for one game, Cap Raider, who ended up moving into their scouting department. Never heard of this in my life, but yes, for one game as an interim coach, Robert Cap Raider, who was a player. He was drafted by the Habs, played in the WHA.
No clue.
For the New England Whalers.
One game. Fuck that.
For one game, he was technically behind the bench for the Sharks.
Really?
But
there you go.
Continue on. So Sutter, Wilson.
Then after Wilson, it was McLennan.
Mm-hmm.
McLennan was fired. I'm trying to think if he had a interim. Yes, he did. I think
he did not.
He didn't? Oh, shit.
Apparently not.
Huh, okay. Then after McLennan, it was DeBoer.
Correct.
And DeBoer was fired. Bugner became the interim.
He's still there, though.
Yeah, but he's now the head coach.
Worrying about
but he's now the head coach.
So you're good. So 5
am
onward is Sutter, Raider, Wilson, McLennan, DeBoer, Bugner.
Yeah.
The first 4, though.
This is where I don't know because I was not old enough to care.
Holy shit! Like I wasn't aware of any of this. So the first ever head coach for the San Jose Sharks from April 91 to April 93 was George Kingston.
Nope.
George Kingston, who was the head coach of the University of Calgary for a very long time. Yeah. Was just kind of known as a Wikipedia calls him a teaching coach. But yeah, he coached the Sharks for those first 2 seasons. They then turned it over from June of 93 to December of 95 to Kevin Constantine.
That name I'm familiar with, yeah.
Has coached for 17 bajillion teams. Led the Sharks for 3 years, went to the Penguins for 3 years, and then ended up in New Jersey in 01-02. Yeah, Kevin Kingston, a name I am not overly familiar with. It then turned from December of 95 to June of 96 to Jim Wiley. R.I.P., by the way, just passed away the day after Christmas in 2021, so condolences there. But yeah, Jim Wiley, who was, in terms of coaching stats, coached the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Vancouver Canucks for 36 games.
Wow.
And then the final head coach before Daryl Sutter was Al Sims, who was there from June of 96 to May of 97.
Jeez.
So the
Sharks, many coaches early on.
I mean, dude, they had 4 head coaches from 91 to 97 before hiring Daryl Sutter.
Yeah. I loved Daryl Sutter.
Finally found some stability, but they have a very interesting Very interesting history.
Ron Wilson was brutal, man. The guy would just call out his players constantly. You just throw him on the bus.
I hope he takes. I don't know. I kind of hope he takes another job at some point. But he hasn't been a head coach since 2012.
Or
so
coaches
he's been on the
before
TSN
center.
panel.
Damn.
He's an old white guy. He'll get another chance. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Absolutely.
With that, everybody, we will call it quits for today and for this week. Again, we thank you very much for joining us and listening or watching the show. Again, shout out to Manscaped for sponsoring us here. Code Tougie at checkout, 20% off, free worldwide shipping. Mr. Sim for the win. What do you have going on?
Yeah, well, obviously you can follow me on Twitter at SinFTWProd. Not on there too much, but of course on the YouTube side of things, Sin for the Win Productions, where I've just started a new series, The Vancouver Canucks. Bruce, there it is. We're starting a new series. It's going to be great. And also you can follow me on Instagram now at Paul Cinders. And there on my bio, you'll find a link to my SoundCloud where my music is and where I'll be releasing a lot of new music as well. I'll probably end up going on Spotify and Apple Music and all that kind of stuff as well. But that's what's going on in my life.
There you go. And of course, you can catch me at Tougie24 and TWO. GIE24, the secondary channel that is out there. There'll be some MLB The Show there. And, of course, Twitch is going to be nothing but baby for a decent amount of time with the show 22 dropping.
Are you bringing back Tor?
Yes.
Okay,
it is official.
I'm fucking watching.
We brought him back at the end of last night's stream, the setup. We played the first 3 games and hit a home run in game number 2 to set the tone. Yes. We were drafted.
Yes.
We were drafted. You're going to love this. By the Colorado Rockies, meaning we get to play in cores and hit dingers for fun.
Dingers. Would you like to know the terrifying truth? Would you like to see me?
Or would you like to see me hit more dingers?
I can't wait to watch, man.
Very excited for that. So hopefully you guys can tune in over the course of the weekend. Again, we might see you this Monday or Tuesday. Keep an eye out on Twitter. I'll keep you guys updated. Of course, the links are all in the description. Enjoy your weekend, everybody, and we will see you next time. Hit some dingers.